Going on YouTube. 907 Piper here. It keeps going in and out of focus. I think it's because it's so bright behind me. So I had the day off today. I had to do some appointments. I'm gonna come and have a pipe on the porch. A little bit of housekeeping. My Prestigio. It's a Spitfire by Lorenzo. Partial rustication. And some cool black and brown coloring. And smoking from Escudo. This is my first time, well, first tin. I've tried this a couple of times, and I wanted to sit on it and age it, but I also wanted to try it. So when I first tried it, fresh out the can, I mean, it was still really good, but just like any other Virginia, it's really going to get better as it sits, right? So, just this couple months, a big difference in taste, but I think I'm going to grab a couple other tins soon and stash those. Oh, I heard noise, man. I get the hype behind it. Virginia's wonderful taste, the kind of stewed fruitiness of the Perique sometimes, a little raisiny. Sometimes when I smoke Perique with that plumminess, that kind of fig or stewed fruit, sometimes I get like this natural undertone of honey. And that's what I get with this blend. But sometimes you can chase too hard, right? At the end of the day, it's either a good blend or it's one that you won't get again. But got that Virginia grass, not so much of the citrus, and then those characteristics I just talked about with the Perique. Not mixing it, but matching it, pairing it with some Hawaiian ginger ale. The spice, it goes really good with the vapors. Anyhow, this video is a VR for Steve. My brother Steve over at Smoking Cardboard. You're doing an awesome giveaway. Kind of this appreciation GAW. And you gotta say, brother, I appreciate you. As cheesy as it sounds. If you haven't come across Steve's channel, you need to get there. And yeah, from the first time I started seeing your content, your pace, your attitude, your, you know, just kind of your demeanor, great channel, man. And yeah, I like your content a lot. And then sometimes me and Steve get together on Instagram, or I think it's been Instagram only, but we do some virtual smoke sessions once in a while. So Steve, looking forward to that next time our schedules can meet up or match. And as I hope you're so if you want to hear some stories, of either our parents or our grandparents, and I apologize, out of the corner of my eye, I keep seeing the focus go back and forth, and I'm trying to get better at looking at the lens instead of looking at myself on camera, because it's weird. Anyway, bear with me. And I was trying to think of some profound, deep, great grandfatherly stories or parent stories, and I had a hard time kind of really pinpointing one. And you know, sometimes stories don't always need to be so serious. Sometimes you need the everyday stories, the funny stories, the ones that are memorable but you don't know why. And so this story is about my dad. This was years ago, probably 15 years ago, maybe a little bit more. I can't remember exactly how old I was. I think when I think back on it, I think I was about like 13, 14. And I was living in Alaska. I lived in a town called Anchorage, the biggest city. And it was a summertime, and we were heading to a small town. It's about 3 hours south, called Seward. And we only go to Seward for like three things, maybe. One of them is to go fish, go different parts of the season for salmon, different salmon. The other is to go visit my Auntie Maggie. And the third, I guess, would only be potentially looking at property. My parents have always liked Seward. It's a small town, really slow. It's by the ocean. So I think those are the only really three reasons. Anyhow, it was just me and my dad. So that means either we were meeting my sister and my mom at my aunt's place, or me and my dad were going fishing. When I think of the story, I seem to remember either looking at a camper, or picking up a camper. And again, those don't really mix, because the campers that my parents bought, I remember those. There've only been a couple. But either way, I feel like me and my dad were going overnight, and it was fishing and getting to Seward. Now in the summertime, there's a lot of traffic because of construction. So we were leaving on a weekday, and we were trying to get there in good time. And it takes about 3 hours on a fast day. So whenever we would go camping or driving to other places, we kind of had this unofficial tradition where we would stop and get food on the way out, fast food. And it was usually McDonald's or Carl's Jr., which I think is Hardee's in other states. And Carl's Jr. wasn't around in town that long, but they quickly became the favorite because our other options were the traditional McDonald's, Burger King, Arby's, and Wendy's, which my family never really went to that much, and I don't know why. I go to them sometimes now. Well, not Arby's, you don't have them here, mommy. But anyway, it was just one of those things we didn't go. So they were kind of the new kid on the block. They had big burgers. They had different tasting burgers they tasted more grill-like, kind of like Burger King. And they had big fries, big drinks. And my favorite part was, depending on the sandwich you would get, they used the sweet bread and butter pickles, right? Not just the regular dill pickle coins. So we're going to Carl's Jr. So we get there. My dad's worried about the traffic. He kind of keeps looking at the clock. So we get through there. We order our food. We each get a burger. And then my dad's like, hey, I'm going to pull over. How about let's just eat this now, and then we can kind of get there, right? And not that we would like speed or like book it, but he was a little bit, we were pressing for time. I don't know why. I think it was just traffic. So I'm like, okay. So we're sitting there, and we open up our burgers. And I'm like, I get into my burger, I'm eating it. And my dad, he like, I don't know, he probably get a little bit mad that I told this, but so sorry if you're watching, Dad. But he wanted to eat his burger as quickly as he could, and I remember watching him being like impressed. I seen this big grown man just like swallow this burger and receive like 3 bites. And I was like, holy crap! He was like, we gotta go. So he just chews down this burger like aggressively, and then like we're drinking our soda. And then the fries, you can kind of eat while you're driving. So he's like, I'll eat my fries later. So I'm like, okay, so we're done. And we're going. And I feel like realistically, he probably ate it in like, probably like 3 minutes, which is still is fast, right? Again, I don't know why this is so funny, and it's kind of, whatever. But we start driving, And my dad, he starts getting kind of uncomfortable. He's kind of like shifting around. And in about 20 minutes, he's just like, oh man, my stomach. And I start laughing. He was like, I ate that burger way too fast. I don't feel good. And I was cracking up. And he's trying to focus and drive, and he's just like, oh, my stomach is not happy. And that's kind of it. There's really no ending, and it's kind of anticlimactic. He just had a bad stomach ache. But I don't know. I always crack up when I think about it. That we were just trying to make time, and he ate it in like 3 bites, and then his stomach was it was like hitting him hard. But I think the only reason why I remember that was yesterday after work I stopped by Carl's Jr. And it doesn't fail to this day. Whenever I see a Carl's Jr. or I go to Carl's Jr., I crack up laughing because I think of my dad just like wolfing down this burger and then complaining about a stomach ache the whole way. And I remember like after that was done, that trip, somebody said something about Carl's Jr. He looked at me and he was like, that was the worst idea. I should not have eaten it that fast. It was not worth it. So like I said, some stories aren't spectacular. Some of them aren't profound. Some of them are just what happens every day in the poor decisions that your parents make. Love you, Pops. Alright, so that's my story, Steve. Thanks for this awesome giveaway. Fingers crossed. That Tinsky pipe is looking rather sharp. So I'm going to get off here before it gets even longer. Good luck, everybody, in the draw. Take care. Be safe. I love y'all. Smoke something good, like Escudo, and eat something better. I'll catch you later.